The next two parts to go on are the body posts, and it says over here to note direction, but I'm looking at this and I'm not quite sure what direction to note other than the holes. When you put those in, we want the holes to line up. So I'm assuming that that is what they're referring to. We're going to take the little screw with the shoulder on there and drop it down in here. I'm just going to put these in the middle. Not quite sure where they're going to end up once we get our body made. You can adjust the height of the body with that. I'm going to go ahead and screw these in just until the screw is flush. We'll repeat that on the other side. As I was saying, rccrawler.com is just a wonderful, wonderful place to get information for crawling of any kind. And it's also got the most up-to-date information that you're going to find anywhere on the Axial Yeti, which we are building now. So now we have the uprights installed. And on to the next step of the directions. We're going to install the bulkhead as well as the body post that we put on onto the front diff. So this should slide just right on here, just like so, which it does. I'm looking at the screw holes here. We have 4 screw holes, and those line up with the screw holes here, and it kind of leans at an angle. You know, it's calling for beveled screws here. And I'm just not quite sure why. Oh, here we go. The reason being is we are missing a part. Ha! Ta-da! I knew I was missing something that wasn't right. This is actually going to sandwich. Is this going to sandwich in there? Okay, this slides over the top. The thicker portion here is going to go up. And how is this going to fit? Looks like it's fitting just right on, just like that. That's why we have beveled screws. I was looking at the part and there was no bevel for them to go into, so I guess it helps to use all of the parts when you're building a car. I'm going to go ahead and just put that one in just to hold things together. Don't want to really tighten it down because we want to line up all of our other screws. When I put that part on, I did briefly show you that there was a fatter end to it. If you take a look at the bottom here, is skinny and the top end is fat, and according to the directions the fatter portion goes to the top. I'm trying to line up all these screws, get them into the holes and tighten them down. That one doesn't seem to want to be going in, so we'll try a different one. There we go. See if we can get more than one lined up. Make things go easier. Okay, we're going to answer the phone and we're going to go ahead and insert these other 2 screws and we'll be right back. Okay. Well, we went ahead and put the other 2 screws in while we were talking on the phone, and this is what your finished unit will look like. Only one more thing to do, and that is to get the little bottle of grease, and we need to lubricate the gears. This is open in the bottom, so it's easy to do it after the fact. Basically what I'm going to do is just lay a little bit of grease on in the gear there, move it over 4 or 5 gears, and just keep laying a small amount of grease every 5 or 6 teeth. Okay. Let's go ahead and spin that around and distribute the grease in there. And this portion of the directions is complete. I'm going to move on to step number 4. Step number 4, building the rear diff. Pretty straightforward. Very similar to what we did in the front, using some of the same parts, but no gears inside because we're using a locker. So that means that the front wheel or the rear wheels will not turn independently because they're locked. So the only parts we haven't got out yet are the bearings. And again, this is my video, so I'm going to pump my product. This is the FastEddyBearings.com. We have bearing kits for over 2,000 different RC cars. So if you need bearings, whether individual bearings or bearing kits, come on by and see us. Okay, so let's see here. We're going to start by placing the locker inside the cup. Pretty straightforward. It only goes in, doesn't matter which way the locker goes in, but it only fits in one way with the little tabs into the grooves. Pretty darn straightforward. We're also going to use, again, the little gasket. There's no fluid in this one, so we're not going to lubricate it. We're just going to go ahead and lay it in there, make sure the holes are matching up. And then we will lay the bevel gear down on top, again with the gear side towards the cup. We'll get the holes lined up properly, hopefully. Yep, messed it up. Let's put it on this side first. Make sure that the gear holes or the screw holes line up, and I'm actually going to put a couple screws in there to hold it into place. I'm just pushing them through. If I don't drop them, they're teeny. And then we're going to line up the gasket tabs with the tabs here when we put it on. Just like so. Go ahead and screw it in. There's one. And again, we're just going to go until they touch. Don't crank down on one. Just put it in until it touches. They're long little screws. Okay, we're going to put the other two in off camera. Again, when you tighten these up, you're just going to tighten them up little by little in a cross pattern. So you'll get these two, then you'll get these two, then you'll go back to these two and these two. And don't over tighten them. We're going to put the other two in off camera. The next step is to put the bearings on, which are a 10 by 15 by 4. And it should easily slide right over on both sides. Don't be afraid to press it on till it snaps, and you want to make sure that they're on flush and not sticking up. And that's all there is to part number 4 on the directions. We'll get our parts and pieces and stuff ready and moved on to number 5. We're all set up for step number 5. It's going to be quick and easy. This is the rear diff here, the axle, and it is part number AX80069. And in my box it was kind of a standalone piece. There wasn't any tree with it, and it's the only one in there. So I'm going to remove the little extra pieces there. I'm going to go ahead and use our hobby knife and get the burrs off so it's nice and smooth. You're not wrecking your fingers on them. I've grabbed RCs where people have built them and not cut the little tree spars off on them, and you can cut your hand on them pretty easily. So we've got that part done. Let's go ahead and get 2 bearings, and those are a 5 by 11 by 4. And again, if you're using FastEddy bearings, they're all in the kit. Where are we going to start here? Let's start with the teeny little hole here, and then we've also got another hole. I guess it's going to be this bottom hole here. We need to plug those up with little set screws that you see down in the corner here. So let's orientate this properly so it's in the right spot. And we know that it's this bottom hole here that I just covered with my thumb that we need to plug up. You don't want to mistakenly do the top hole. So we'll put our little set screw on our wrench here. Screw that in. Now I'm going to peek in through the shaft here, through the top, and just for grins we're going to screw that in just until we see it inside the tube, and not any farther because we don't want to disrupt any parts that are inside there. You can see how it, on the right side, how it just broached the inside. So I'm going to stop there, and that's just a little bit less than flush. Right there. So okay, the second hole that we want to plug up is going to be this one here on the bottom. We'll go ahead and do that. And again, don't screw it all the way in so that it's going to interfere with any of the gears or anything. It doesn't look like this one will have a problem with that. There's a pretty big piece of plastic here, so we're just going to screw that one in until it's flush with the case. There we go. Don't want it to catch on anything, any rocks, or get torn out, so that should pretty much do it. Okay, let's take our 13-tooth bevel gear. We're going to slide one bearing over it like so. And we're going to press this from the inside. We're going to drop it through the hole here. And we're going to use our thumb and press it in until that bearing seats. Give it a good push so that that bearing is completely seated down inside. And then we'll take the second bearing and press it in from the other side. Now you're going to need to be careful here. We're going to be working more with this part here in a little bit, but that can fall out. So if you're working over a surface that it's hard to find stuff on, don't drop it because you may not find it again. So that is the end of step number 5. We're going to get out some pieces and start on step 6.